And welcome in, Jims and Jimmits, to another exciting edition of No Substitute for Sports. I'm your host, Nick Johnson. This is episode 54. And yes, a well deserved break before the Super Bowl. What will you be doing with all this free time? What are you going to be doing? I'm going to be running around. I don't know. I think we're going to. I already said last week I was going to lie to the gal. We're going to go to the mall probably. So what are you going to be doing? Let us know. You got all that free time. Thank you as always for tuning in to the No Substitute for Sports on the Generous Network YouTube page. If you're stumbling upon us, hit that subscribe button, but only after you hit the like button. Maybe share us around, tell your friends, tell your local baker to put it on a cake because it's my birthday and we're here recording. So there you go. That's just for you. How you do? Never taking a day off. You can follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Degenerates. And every Thursday, 2 p.m. Central, I go live on twitch.tv/SportsTownShy for No Substitute for Sports Live. Honestly, just follow that page. I'm basically going to be going live every single day there. So twitch.tv/SportsTownShy. No Substitute for Sports Live goes at live on Thursday, 2 p.m. Central. Again, follow there. Follow on X-Bomb Sports as well for everything. We go live 11:30 on Fridays for Bad Karma Wrestling. Me and Double D, David Dykstra, talking Bad Karma Wrestling. So there you go, talking all wrestling over there. Ready for this one, Mikey? Here we go. So
So
much to
much to
talk about.
talk about. So
So
much
much
to
to
talk
talk
about.
about. There we go. Hell yeah. And today is jam-packed with football and wrestling. Starting off, we're recapping the AFC and NFC Championship games, thoughts on the Super Bowl Swifty 8, and reactions to Dan Campbell's bold decisions. Next, and NFL coaching notes. We got a little bit of things going on. It was in the Bears realm and a little bit on the Lions side of things also. Finally, thoughts on WWE's Royal Rumble and what to look forward to now that Punk is out and Rollins wants Rhodes. Huh? We'll get to that and all things there. All that, tons more in between. But before we get underway, let me introduce to you my friend and co-host, the founder and CEO of FatCat_Streams. And that's with a Z. Mikey G. Fatcat, how the hell are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a good day, good week, a good weekend with the Royal Rumble and everything. And yeah, ready to talk about it all and the football games, of course. We
Yeah,
can't forget
absolutely.
those.
Jam-packed. Saturday, Sunday was jam-packed exactly like that. Well, we're going in opposite order, obviously, but we want to hit the NFL first. But Saturday was awesome. Enjoying the Royal Rumble, courtesy of my brother and all the fun festivities over there. Enjoying a little gambling, as we usually do. Gamble responsibly, 1-800-GAMBLER. But we were doing a little bit in person. As we always do, we draw our numbers and just enjoy the Royal Rumble for the men's and women's side. A little break in between. Like you said, we get to the two matches and we'll get to all that and all our thoughts on that as always. Sunday, even more jam packed. We'd found out who was going to be in the Super Bowl, AFC Championship and the NFC Championship. All that. There we go. You are ready to dive on in?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah, let's do exactly that. We got so much to talk about, like we usually say in the beginning.
So
So
much to
let's do
talk about.
exactly that. And as always, chronological order, we'll hit the AFC Championship game. Foist, the Chiefs taking down the Ravens 17-10. Oh boy, oh boy. Stop betting against Patrick Mahomes is all like that was my one of my biggest takeaways. Overall, the game was absolutely low scoring indeed. Obviously, the Chiefs didn't score a pinch in the second half, but didn't need to. Their defense is a buzzsaw, a much better team right now than just about anybody else, and obviously going to the Super Bowl for a reason. So, fun game. I mean, the craziness was all over the place. I mean, this really shouldn't define Lamar Jackson's career just yet. I don't know, but the idea that just the Ravens went away from the run game was crazy. I mean, let's just bounce back and forth. Honestly, the Zay Flower sequence was crazy. Just the Chiefs didn't turn the ball over. Mike, what were your thoughts on this game? I'll throw it over to you firsthand.
Well, I was rooting for the Ravens going into this, and it's just a disappointing game as being an outside-in Ravens fan. It was yeah, they did not really run it at all.
Eight
I saw
times.
8 times. Yeah, I didn't have the exact number, but
The number
just
one rushing offense in the league decided to run it only 8 times.
it's just insane. I mean, and you're at home, and they just didn't seem like, I don't know, they didn't seem like they wanted as much as the Chiefs. Some disappointing plays, the Zay Flowers fumble. on the goal line was a very big momentum swing for
Oh,
sure
without a
because
doubt.
I mean, that was the Ravens' chance to get a touchdown and come back a little bit here, get the crowd going,
I mean, a
and then just
tremendous play by Snead. Like
yeah,
that's the biggest thing. Of course, save Flowers, just rookie play, doing exactly what you need to do in that situation, extend. But I, I was looking over that play, doing highlights for some schoolwork. You can see all the very when you're going frame by frame, it bounced when he clinks it out of his hands, and he's still going forward. And then you see the whites of his eyes open up as he realizes that he doesn't have the ball anymore. It's honestly pretty what a crazy sequence. And then obviously comes down. That's the clutchest play, if not. I you let the boys play and everything, but you know, some contact with Isaiah likely in a couple plays, but you cannot throw into triple coverage like Lamar Jackson did, going being very late in that ball game. And obviously the dagger, the absolute biggest dagger was Mark MVS finally making a big catch. He's made a couple other bigger catches since that humongous drop on that prime time game. But yeah, MVS making that huge dagger catch of a play, and that basically sealed it on in for them for Lamar Jackson, the Ravens. Are you on the side that this is going to be, you know, a big stain on Lamar Jackson? Are you like completely out on him, or are you more sympathetic?
yeah. I mean, he like I'm on the side of a little bit of both. I feel like I don't know because he should have performed better in this game. I mean, he should have used his ability to run more. And when he wasn't able to throw it as much, I mean, but it's maybe just a game plan. So I don't know if you could put it all on him, but
I
just
wouldn't.
a
I haven't been.
just a poor game. I mean, from the whole team all around, honestly. And the Chiefs, like you said, just you can't bet against them. I think that they're against the spread again, like 10-1 against the spread when they're underdogs.
Yeah, 10
They
1
are
and 1
just
now.
unstoppable. I mean, and if they're underdogs for the Super Bowl, it's who knows, man. I mean,
They are. They
there you go.
opened up at 2.5 point dogs, already down to a point, and I jumped on. I got the money line at plus 100 for the Chiefs.
Wow.
I think just the way that it is, I don't think it goes back up to 2.5. It'll probably just settle around like 1.5 in favor of the Niners, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, sure, crazier things have happened on the betting side of things, but
For sure.
I'm more sympathetic for Lamar Jackson. Yes, this was the struggles galore. He got he struggled for sure. The Chiefs just didn't turn the ball over, so that's a huge, humongous thing. It is again, you don't want to say good loss at all, but the Ravens fucked up a lot, and they still only lost by a touchdown. And you could, I mean, again, you can argue like, oh, essentially they did have a touchdown. Zay Flowers was in, but he wasn't. But you know, that's a huge thing right there. Of
I
course,
mean,
like I
no
said,
one was producing. No one on
yes,
the team
yes,
was. You
yes. It
go
was
late into the third quarter, and one of the highest receivers with receiving yards was Lamar Jackson
yeah.
with
That
his
again, crazy play.
miraculous catch, which, yeah, was insane, but it's not good when he's one of the top receivers.
Yeah. And that was also going to be one of my points when, you know, of course, Zay Flowers is a great talent, and he's panned out immensely for the Ravens this year. But the number two and number three option being Odell and Nelson Aguilar,
Hmm.
that's not good. That's not enough. And Mark Andrews was coming back. This was his first game returning, so not going to be the same. It's not there. No, Isaiah likely was doing what he could, but just wasn't getting the calls. So a couple of bounces of the ball go the Ravens' way. It could have been, you know, Lamar Jackson celebrating and going on to his first Super Bowl. But again, this does not close at all. This does not finalize the last chapter in Lamar Jackson's legacy. He's 26. He has his second. He's gonna be going on his second MVP season underneath his belt. There's a lot more to Lamar Jackson, but again, people trying to come up with the argument that it's like, oh, is it the idea? Is it Lamar Jackson? Is it the way that he plays ball? I kind of argue it's just the not I want to say the lack of talent. It's just the lack of big names because you know, there's some big free agent running backs going to be available. Do you still stick with Gus Edwards and Justice Hill? Sure, you could, but I mean, Austin Eckler is going to be available, and or Derrick Henry, Tony
Sure.
Pollard. Like, there's options. Surround this kid with talent. Like, I don't know. Just don't settle with Gus Edwards, the bowling ball. Let's get some good names in there. And again, if Nelson Aguilar is your number 2 or 3 option receiving wise, I don't think so. That's not for me. That's not for me. So, Zay Flowers, a healthy Mark Andrews is nice. Get him a third piece because I mean that's about all you really can do it. And then, yeah, going away from the run was insane, insane option. So yeah, I mean very entertaining for as low scoring as it was. I would say still, but yeah, when people are, it's preposterous to sit here and say that the Ravens won't be, that just Lamar Jackson won't be back in this situation that some people are saying. So I
No,
don't agree. Yeah,
he'll be back.
yeah, exactly. I don't agree with that. Uh, yeah, no, just, yeah, I'm just trying to look at any more notes that I had. Yeah, Chiefs didn't turn the ball over. The Zay Flowers sequence was just absolutely crazy. And yeah, him not, I don't know if he broke his hand, but at least cutting it open on the bench. That's got to get your emotions in check. Um, And something that flew under the radar, I was just thinking about this, and I haven't heard any media, any radio talk about this, and I don't know if it's like a targeted thing again, maybe just people getting blackballed and whatever. Odell Beckham Jr. Was one of the first people that kind of like went over to Lamar Jackson and console him. Maybe not the first person, but at least saw it on TV, and again wasn't really highlighted or talked about. So I don't know if people are under the impression like, oh, Odell just ring chasing, not a good teammate. That shows me and maybe people otherwise if they had that idea that, hey, no, you're wrong. So Odell Beckham Jr., good teammate. Again, maybe people just not acknowledging it. Again, I don't know if that's a narrative that's going around, but I just thought that it was interesting that nobody really showed or tossed that out there. Like usually it's like a big tweet like, oh man, the brotherly love and stuff like that. But maybe I'm not in Ravens Twitter or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
People also do like to hate on Odell
Yeah,
for
exactly. That's what
no
I'm saying. Maybe
reason.
just like the Odell hate, the whole just maybe like I said, just vouching for Odell. He's got some weird stuff going on, but yeah, good
Like he
teammate.
was by far not the number one receiver that game at all, and he's not complaining or anything
No,
like
no,
some people would. It was all
exactly.
Zay Flowers, and yeah, he was just being supportive at the end of it. So, seems like a good guy. I
Yeah,
would want
exactly.
Odell on my team.
Just wanted to acknowledge that if Odell Beckham Jr. somehow stumbles upon this. So there you go. Shout out to you, OBJ. Uh, if you're good on that one, like I said, what I mean, how many more stats on Patrick Mahomes getting into the Super Bowl? Fucking four out of 5 times now, 5 out of 6 times. Who knows? I'll say this also before we move on to the NFC Championship game. The posts of, oh my God, it's the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again, and it's just pictures of Hitler and Stalin. Like, bro, relax. One, humongously offensive, probably. Again, I get the humor where it's coming from, but people hate greatness. I'm not saying that people are going to turn this and spin this around in all different ways. Not saying the H man should be labeled with that. I'm saying Patrick Mahomes is getting hate, and just the Chiefs in general are getting hate because they just keep winning. They keep winning and they keep getting to the Super Bowl. And yes, it could be boring some and whatever, but you're gonna look back and be like, holy fuck, we're watching one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, just in real
Well, yeah,
time.
it's the same thing with Tom Brady. I mean, everyone
Yeah.
hated Tom
Yes.
Brady when he was constantly winning, and it's
Absolutely.
the same thing. Patrick Mahomes is like subpar to Tom Brady with talent, and they are very similar in the ways that they've been cooking it up.
Yeah.
And people don't like, yeah, like you said, people don't like to see the same teams winning constantly
Yeah.
over and over again. So,
Yeah, I get the different angles. They either don't like that and don't want to admit it. They don't like winning and don't like people succeeding and don't want to admit it, or they just don't like the Taylor Swift angle. And again, at this point, I've been like, who gives a fuck? I don't care. Her being on my television screen does not take away from anything on the field. If it's only, I just said it today in class. I'm like, oh no, she's only added more money and viewership to the thing that I absolutely love. Oh no, what are we talking about here? Who cares? I rather see shots of Taylor Swift than fat old Andy Reid out there huffing and puffing. I mean, it's just the optics are better. And what I also heard, it's just like she's not on the screen very often, and only if Travis Kelsey really catches a touchdown or a crazy play. So what? Seeing Taylor 4 or 5 times on your TV screen, and you're adding what? The most watched AFC Championship game in history, like 60 million views. Like, holy, that was just in the US.
It's
So,
said that like Taylor and Travis, their relationship has reduced like 300 million in revenue for the NFL and for the
yeah,
Kansas City Chiefs.
yeah. Yes, that's what happens when you have a global phenomenon, a global superstar watching just watching her boyfriend play football. Isn't it? Again, I don't want to keep
Yow.
It's like one of the most US things that's like the most red-blooded American things that you could want. Like a
People
blonde
take it
chick.
so over the
Yeah.
top.
A blonde chick that can sing watching her football boyfriend on the
Wow.
biggest stage. Like, what else would you want? It's a love story. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There you go. Maybe we got something in our brain, and that's that too. That the little idiot in me that wants to make jokes and little Mark Norman thing that in me that wants to keep breaking off songs into jokes. It's possible. It's all possible right now. It's if you just take the time. I mean, again, it's people that just want to complain about anything, and more power to you. That's all I gotta say on that. So Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs and Taylor Swift into the Super Bowl on the AFC side of things. We can hop on over to the NFC side of things. How about that?
Yeah, Taylor Swift just became a NFL fan this last year, and she's seen more success than most fans in their
Yeah,
lifetime.
yeah,
So
dude. To be
I hope
fair,
she's
yeah,
having
yeah,
fun. We're
yeah,
going to the
exactly that.
Super
We're
Bowl.
going to the Booper Bowl. I did see the prop for them to get for Travis to propose to Taylor Swift on the field plus 190. Yes. Oh,
That's a bet? Are you
yes.
kidding?
Yes, that's on there, ladies and
There's no
gentlemen.
way.
It is on there. Try and check your sports book.
Oh, I love the Super Bowl.
Oh fuck yeah. Exactly that. So I mean next week we're gonna be diving in. That's gonna be our picks. All of our big picks. Everything that we're gonna take from our small little props of over under on the national anthem to who's scoring a touchdown, who's got the spread, who's got the over. That's what we're doing next week. So again, fuck the Pro Bowl. Go play some dodgeball at your local
I
rec
care
center.
more about the Puppy Bowl than
Ooh,
that.
good, yeah, good point right there. Uh there you have it. NFC
I
side
saw
of things. Oh,
Bark Purdy's gonna be there. I can't wait.
it's good. Bark Purdy. Oh man, again, you can run wild with the football names that you could have for dogs. Just the same thing you could do with the Taylor Swift songs. Oh man. Oh, yeah. There you have it. Jonathan
Wow.
True Toy Taylor. No, that's not. It's bad. We'll figure that one out later. NFC Championship games side of things first before I strike out on those names. Lions fall to the Niners 34-31. And I mean, hacky question, but was this a Lions loss or a 49ers win? Boy, oh boy, you can fall on all sorts of things. Lions absolutely fell apart. Lions absolutely fell apart in that second half. The 24-7, not just close enough to that 28-3 Falcons loss to the Patriots, but it's yeah, it's all over the place, all over the place. Similar, the Lions went away from the run game like the Ravens did, and just yeah, that was a big key thing. Jameer Gibbs fumble was key, and that led to Every time the Lions just failed to convert, failed to do so on multiple, fourth downs or just turnovers, the Niners just went ahead and capitalized. So between Josh Reynolds' two key drops, one being on fourth down, at least for sure. I didn't really see a lot of targeting of St. Brown very much at all in the second half, if there was even any targets at all. But like I said, fumble by Jahmyr Gibbs, the scoring, and then Brock Purdy just waking up in the second half. Some even considered like, hey, throw Darnold in there. I mean, I don't know about that, but it seemed like Kyle Shanahan was still pretty confident down 17 like they were, still ready to roll with their game plan, and it's kind of scary. But in that same breath, I would be like, you don't want to fall behind against the Kansas City Chiefs, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. Brock Purdy able to come back a little bit. Just I don't want to give it all to Brock Purdy. Just the 49ers able to come back behind Dan Campbell and some decision making. And I don't remember. It had to be the week after that Cowboys Lions game where you can probably hear me sound biting about how the media sucks off Dan Campbell for, oh my God, his aggressiveness going forward on fourth down. You know what's going on. You know who his player is going to run through a wall for him. This, this is what you get. This is what you get. A loss in the most important game of all those guys' careers. Maybe Jared Goff's. I don't know. He went to a Super Bowl and lost that too. But man, that's disappointing as fuck because, again, you can play the what if game. But down 27-24, you haven't scored a point up until that point, you hadn't scored a point in the second half. Tie the game. Tie the game and do anything. Because the Niners probably still would have went down and scored a touchdown like they did on the next drive. But being down 10 as opposed to being down 7 with 3 minutes left, 40 seconds left is all the difference. Is all the difference because later on, sure enough, the Lions went ahead and went down and tied the ball game. So again, playing the what if game, you're not guaranteed to win in overtime, but goddamn, probably wouldn't have even seen overtime. Honestly, Dan Campbell would have went for it for two after they would have tied it and tried to go win 35-34. I'm pretty sure. So I say here and say he would have went the safe route and still went for the tie and go overtime, but he still probably wouldn't have even done that. I'm not saying go away from Dan Campbell. I'm saying this recklessness is going to cost you games. It's either going to win you big or it's going to cost you a lot, and it costs you everything. So I don't know if the trade-off of it is every single time, and everybody else is also saying, "Oh, Michael Badgley, he hasn't really hit from 45 yards out." It's better trying and getting something than just trying and getting just not trying at all because you got fucking nothing anyways. I don't know. I'm all over the place. I'm glad that I don't need to make these decisions. I can play the what if game and say everything like, oh, we're gonna score this, score that, but the aggressive decisions have come to bite Dan Campbell in the ass yet again. So I'll pass it over to you. Just your thoughts overall on the game, or if you just want to tackle Dan Campbell right away.
Jared Goff, 273 yards, touchdown. Montgomery and Gibbs cook it up, and they get cooked by Josh Reynolds and Dan Campbell. More Dan Campbell. They think Josh Reynolds has the hot hand, which he does, but he drops the big passes in this game, and that cost them big, those plays. Again, Jared Goff, I think, played great. And if they got those passes, then it might be a different story even, but I feel bad for Jared Goff because he's been playing very well, and it's not like he played horribly, and that's why they lost. They lost because of Dan Campbell. They didn't go for that field goal. They could have went for field goal twice, I think, in the
Yeah.
game and
Yep.
didn't go for it. And I know he's at the game after the game, after all the post conferences, and then after the day after, he was saying, "I'm a gambler. I lost," all this stuff. And he said he doesn't regret the decisions, and he'll probably continue to be that way going forward. So it just seems like that's the kind of guy he is. But like you said, in this case, you gambled and you got cooked, and it's hard to just stand there and act like you did nothing wrong because you cooked them. How can you just, I don't know. If I was in the locker room, like if I was a player, I'd be so mad at Dan Campbell,
Yeah.
especially because that's just they didn't even get to be in a position where they could have even had a chance to win, go into overtime because he didn't go for an easy field goal. It's just like so. Honestly, I mean, I don't know what they talk about on the sideline. I bet the players were in it when they said we're gonna go for fourth. Like I bet they were hype about it, and they didn't get them, and they ended up really fucking them over. But
Yeah.
he put them in that situation in the first place, and they shouldn't have been there. So, I mean, all in all, 49ers are one of the most lucky number one seeds I've seen in a while because they should have lost now to the Packers and Lions in 2 past weeks, and they've just gotten passed by the skin of their teeth. So I don't know what's going to happen in the Super Bowl, but I mean, Brock Purdy, he did play well this game. I've been giving him shit, but there were some big plays that he made running the ball,
Oh yeah,
throwing
no,
it.
very clutch runs. Probably the most clutch of his entire career. I think he had like 48 yards rushing, and
Hmm.
two of them were on two clutch third downs that they needed to convert. And sure enough, that he did with his again with his legs. It's not. I'm sure his line for rushing was probably around like 10 or 11 rushing yards. So
Yeah.
I don't
So yeah,
know.
I mean, you gotta give it to him for that.
Yeah.
But
Finding Ayuk on just, I mean, Brandon, they had a nice connection that second half as well. I
that
mean,
crazy play off the helmet too to him where it
yeah,
it bounced off the Lions guy's helmet and Ayuk caught it down at the one.
yeah, that was
And
absolutely, yeah,
also McCaffrey's, I mean, one of the best running backs if ever. He's been on a shit team most of his career, and
with the
this
Panthers,
is
yeah,
first chance to another chance to be in the Super Bowl other than that Cam Newton year. And they lost, the Broncos, so that sucks ass. But this is his chance to get that ring, man. I mean, he deserves it, but it's going to be a tough game for sure against the Chiefs. I mean, and I've been doubting them this whole postseason, the whole year, because they've been had a pretty average year, I feel like, in regards to the Chiefs. And they still had a good seeding. They have been cooking this whole postseason. They've been underdogs for most of it, honestly,
yeah.
on the road, and they've been proving everyone wrong again, like they do every year, I
Either on the
guess.
road or in the roughest conditions. I mean, play the Dolphins in what negative 60-degree weather. Play the Dolphins. Play the Bills on the road in Buffalo again, cold as shit. Couldn't even get there because they had to shovel their way in, and then just play the Ravens in Buffalo or in Maryland. So they've had the much tougher report card as compared to the Niners, who
Yeah.
bye week barely beat the Packers, barely beat the Lions. So it's a tough one, but you compare the talent, you'd probably still lean Niners side. But Patrick Mahomes, just the argument, if you just say the name Patrick Mahomes, and then I'm just kind of like, okay, I get
How do
you.
you bet against Patrick Mahomes
You don't. You
and
don't.
Travis Kelce?
You don't. You don't do that.
Because
That's why I leave
their
you.
receivers are not good, and we've said that all year. I
Yeah,
mean, they,
Kadarius Toney will tell you.
man, they're lying about his injury.
Yeah, he's in a body cast. If you believe the injury report. God, that was so funny.
You just suck, dude. You want them to say that injury report, you suck.
Yeah, they could
You're
just say
out.
that. Yeah, out.
They're
Doesn't
trying to
know how to
be
play
nice,
football.
so another team maybe gets you or something when this is all said and done, but now you're just cooked, and now you look like an asshole, and you're probably not going to play for in the Super Bowl. So,
Nah,
but you will get a ring if they win, so you
that's
get that
yeah.
at
Yeah, he'll probably
least.
he'll pawn that off. Don't worry. Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a tough look for him. And it was, yeah, again, just NFC Championship game. Wild as can be. Obviously lived up the both games I feel lived up to expectations. 60 plus points on the NFC's championship side of games, not so much scoring on the AFC side of things, but both
Yeah,
in their own right were very exciting and both had this starting narrative. Uh, and again, I'm on that same side as you. I feel bad because I mean, Amon St. Brown it brought me the title, and honestly, I think honestly because of that, he's probably turned into my new favorite wide receiver. He's so much fun to watch. He's got the blue hair. Blue's my favorite color, and he's just a very very solid player overall. Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery played their hearts out, and you feel bad for Jared Goff as well, who again didn't play bad at all, like you just said, just not enough to get past this squad, and it is what it is. So, I mean, we can lightly touch upon the Super Bowl, or kind of just like I said, at the moment have it. I think it's at 47 and a half of the last time I checked, or at least that's when it opened at,
yeah, I can
and
check real fast.
the Niners are still favored by a point. I went ahead and just took the Chiefs really quick. Might as well just because just the idea of it. But I'll be doing the same thing. I'll be teasing. I'll be still making decisions. All those props, I haven't even touched them yet. Because I'm still trying to up the
Yeah,
ante.
the Chiefs, it says the Chiefs are plus 105 right now. Over
Okay.
the mine is over 47.
Okay.
Over and -2 for the 49ers right now. They are
Okay.
-2.
So back up a point. Okay. Yeah, no, I think it'll probably, like I said earlier, it'll probably linger around there. It'll be Niners anywhere between a point and 2 points, probably by the time the window closes. So
Take the Chiefs now.
yeah,
And maybe we'll see this line still when this is uploaded. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna just say, yeah, right now with we're talking early, I'm taking Chiefs. We've just after what we've talked about, and I'm not betting against Mahomes anymore. I've learned my lesson,
yeah,
and the road that they've had this postseason has been way more tough than the 49ers. And I love McCaffrey and Kittle, but I mean, it's going to be a tough game
yeah,
for sure. And then the Chiefs have the best def we've talked about it before. They have the best defense they've had in a while. And Mahomes is just Mahomes. So you take the Chiefs, win the plus money. If you want to just have fun for the Super Bowl and they're not going to get blown out or anything. Mahomes is going to make sure that it's a close game the entire time. If not, they're going to fucking win it. So
yeah.
I'm going to take the Mahomes.
I think it's also everything's plus money, Super Bowl MVP, like MVP odds wise. So this is always the best time to basically grab Patrick Mahomes and or who you think would be the MVP on the 49ers sides, which would most likely in my mind be Purdy and or CMC. So
Yeah,
that
just
would be my
it
game
would
set.
be a quarterback for sure, unless McCaffrey had like
A three
a
touchdown
crazy
game.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's always on the table. He had 2 and 97 yards on the ground or something. I don't know. He always can do Christian McCaffrey things when he is Christian McCaffrey. So that's kind of what I mean. Of course, my gambling, my money might go towards the Chiefs side, but I want the Niners to win because I want Christian McCaffrey to get a ring. I just that they think that will solidify him as one of the best, if one of the better. I can't just say the best because obviously as Bears fans, it'll always be Walter Payton, but he will be one of the better. Just in that debate, in that great debate of running backs, Christian McCaffrey will be above all because he's got the numbers and he'll have a ring. So that would just be my mindset. All those guys deserve to have a ring. Brandon Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, they've all had crazy seasons this year. I'm just naming the offense and the defensive side of things. They can a number of guys as well there. So exciting. Again, the people that are complaining like, oh no, here's a graph of everyone who wants the teams to win. It's only California wants the Niners, only Missouri wants Kansas City to win, and the rest is gray. And it says we want there to be a earthquake or something. It's like, grow the fuck up. You're fucking stupid. All of you are gonna watch this, and I'm gonna laugh when it's the most watched, most streamed Super Bowl ever, and we're all sitting here like, no one should watch it. It's only because the two big. Fuck off. Shut up. All those people in Detroit are gonna watch it. All those woe is me fan bases are all gonna watch it. So shut up.
Super Bowl is such a big event. It's even bigger than football sometimes. I mean, there's people that even just watch it for commercials
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
halftime show,
And
and then
those people that say that I want to hit you with my car, but I'll still let you. I'll still sit next to you while you enjoy when you double dip on the bean dip or whatever
But
at the
yeah, I mean, it's
party.
really ultimately for the football game,
Yeah,
of course, but there's so many things that go into it. Like, it's just crazy how every commercial is.
yeah.
Yeah, it just pays so much for those. Like, oh, 10-second commercial probably paid like $500,000 for that.
Those are always fun, but the ones that get annoying with me are the ones that are just a barcode, just a little thing for you to scan as a QR code. Like here you go,
Yeah,
scan this, and it's with some upstart company that no one gives a fuck about, and it's just like some stupid shit. Like, oh great, now my phone has AIDS. So those are always
thank you, Super Bowl.
yeah, thank you, Super Bowl. Or the big game. Again, I don't know who, when, and where you have to say that. I don't know. Don't please NFL, just don't sue it. Just don't take us down, please. This is all I have. Uh like I said, we'll deep dive, more numbers, more props, everything will probably take forever on the Super Bowl next week, and rightfully so. That's all you got to really be focused on. So, all that will be next week. Please tune in. We'll see you there. Finishing up NFL side, some quick coaching notes. Bears went ahead and hired Eric Washington, former Rams defensive lineman, uh, coach right there on the D side, defensive side. He will be the Bears defensive coordinator. I'm okay with it, I suppose. Working with Aaron Donald, probably, so that's cool. Uh, Again, if you want to take the time and really figure out who, where, what, where he's been, yeah. So just that's fine. It's one of these past few hires haven't just been like a what the hell are you doing type of reaction for me. So I think it's better. I think that's okay. Uh, did you have any take on that?
And no, I mean, I'm not too familiar with them. I saw they signed him
Yeah,
earlier, but
but it wasn't Joe Barry.
yeah, I mean, that's the only thing they should be happy about. Yeah. And like you said, he's on the Rams, so Aaron Donald, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
they had a good defense.
Yeah, yeah, works out like that. They've had, I think, a very similar scheme right there. Still staying on the D or on this offense. Oh, forgive me, offensive side of things. Brian Johnson is going to be staying in Detroit. I was thinking that the Lions are gonna, even Dan Campbell was thinking, we might not even get back here because the coaching turnover and the player turnover. Well, one less coach to have to turn over. Brian Johnson's gonna be staying in Detroit. I believe Adam Schefter was reporting that the asking price was a bit too high, so some teams were put off by that somewhat, but uh there you go. I think it could still be a good fit. If Lions fans should be overjoyed in some degree. I was very surprised, honestly, that maybe Brian Johnson wouldn't take maybe the pay cut or maybe meet him more financially and take the Commander's job just because you would have had much more. I feel like made much more freedom over there. Maybe you have a up and coming owner, tons of money, a lot of young talent over there. You're gonna get the third overall pick in this draft. So I thought that would have been the more enticing route. But again, good for the Lions. One less coach to deal with, one less coaching turnaround, one less thing in general to have to deal with for next year. So, any quick thoughts on Brian Johnson staying with the Lions?
Yeah, I mean, that was one big question up in the air for them. He was a huge offensive coordinator for them, and if they lost him, it might have affected the plays and all of it in general. So yeah, it's huge being able to keep him and not lose him to the head coaching position. And like you said, I know Adam Schefter was saying the asking price was a little too steep for some teams as well. So I mean, yeah, he'll stay from in a familiar place in Detroit, and they'll just improve on that offense.
Yeah. Would you be surprised if they call either Mike Vrabel or good old Bill Belichick over to Washington?
I mean, yeah, they need someone, and Vayro would be a good one. One of the only teams
That's just
left
who I keep.
that's
I keep vouching for Vrabel. I don't know why
well, yeah,
that's
I
such a
feel
hard
like
out
he
for him.
should be a head coach. I don't know why the Titans even fired him, but we'll see. I hopefully he can land somewhere. It is honestly a shame if he doesn't.
Yeah, crazy. Definitely a missed opportunity for a team if they're looking for one. If Mike Vrabel's sitting on the table, so again, that's just me in my mind. He's kind of old school defensive mindset in an offensive led NFL at the moment, but see what happens. We'll see what's up. Finally, Arthur Smith. I mean,
Mm.
there's a couple other names being thrown around as well, but I want to focus on this one really quick. Arthur Smith to the Steelers as their offensive coordinator. Just, I was starting to think, maybe George Pickens, they were starting to turn it up. I was just talking with our buddy Mike while we were at the Royal Rumble. We're like, yeah, your Steelers. Well, it was a bad ending. George Pickens turning around. Jalen Warren and Najee Harris, 1-2 combo. And here comes Arthur Smith to come and fuck that up, and maybe in my mind, but
Mm.
it's the track record just shows me that, like I said, wasn't going to Bijan, wasn't going to Drake London and Kyle Pitts. So the top talents seem to struggle where Arthur Smith goes. That's all I would say. But I'm sure there's other offenses where he shined and everything else. But that was just my immediate thought on that one. So anything quickly on Arthur Smith to the Steelers?
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the best decision for them, but I saw that he used to be an offensive coordinator on a previous team. I forget which it was, but I guess they had a pretty high ranked run offense when he was on that team, and now he's got Najee and Jalen Warren to work with. So
Yeah.
sometimes we talked about it. Sometimes coaches are better in those coordinator roles. They realize they can't be a head coach, and like I mean, Matt Nagy literally is a an example, I guess. He was the head coach. He did not turn out too well near the end of it. Now on the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, and I mean, they're about to be in the Super Bowl again. So
Turning chicken shit into chicken salad in terms of their wide receivers.
yeah,
So good on him. I hate when they pan more to Nagy than they do to Taylor Swift. That's my that
that's
was
what pisses you out.
that bugs me more than anything. Seeing Nagy on my fucking screen, I don't get that away from me. Uh, but yeah, I think that was basically it. NFL wise, if you're good on the NFL, I'm trying to think really quickly. And MLB, nothing. NBA, All Stars. Like I said, I think we may have said this beforehand, but NBA All Stars reserves are coming up Thursday. So next week we can just talk about snubberoonies and all those fun things. And obviously the NBA All Star is much more enjoyable than the Pro Bowl, if that's even comparable, because the All Star, the NFL doesn't have an All Star break necessarily, but that's that. But yeah, so NBA All Star, the 3-point competition. Heard Curry's facing some lady and from the
Yeah,
WNBA.
Sabrina. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but
Yeah, I mean she's shooting she's gonna be shooting from the WNBA side or size 3 points line, and Curry's gonna be go ahead and still getting the NBA treatment. So someone went ahead and said, or while I was sitting down, they're like, this is Curry's legacy on the line. I was sitting there like, he's gonna end up winning. He's not gonna care. Even if he doesn't, who gives a fuck? Like he's the best 3-point shooter of all time, if not the best shooter of all time. But that was just the
it's just
legacy's
a
on the
cool,
line.
just a fun competition.
Yeah, it's
I,
just an
s-
exhibition.
I saw them call each other out on Instagram, and now they're doing it. So, it's
Yeah,
just
didn't
fun.
isn't it with the Kevin Hart thing? Didn't that happen a couple years back? Kevin Hart challenged somebody to do something, and he ended up. I don't know. He was always talking.
I
I hope
don't
he's
remember.
yeah. There was something like that. I again. I'm not talking out of my ass. Hopefully he's doing better. I know he was not. He had something with his lower abdomen, but we're getting all over the place. All over the place. Wrestling. We're gonna wrap up with that. Essentially, we got the Royal Rumble. We get some Raw notes. So how's that sound?
Yeah.
Awesome. Here we go. Royal Rumble recap. consisted of the women's. I always sound like a fucking frog. Women's Royal Rumble. Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul. The Fatal 4-Way between Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight. And then the finalizing piece was the Men's Royal Rumble. Uh, Overall on the night, before we just hit each and every single match, I like that poster. It kind of looks like you're a part of the whole thing with
Yeah,
Randy.
that's
Just put your head right. Yeah, there you go. Like there you go. Mike in the poster. I love that. Love that situation. Rey Mysterio was in there in the poster, and he wasn't even close to being on the night. But I digress. Just like I said, before we hit individually, God damn it. Overall, the night, the Royal Rumble, kind of underwhelming. I honestly, I think TNA might have been the biggest winner of the entire show. Uh, with Jordan Grace being involved on the women's side, that was very interesting and very intriguing. But overall, not a ton of surprises, very predictable, and just like I said, underwhelming was the word. So before we dive into individually, did you have any opening thoughts like that on the night?
yeah, I mean, that's disappointing is really the main word that comes to mind. I was just had higher expectations, I think, than what I got.
And I think rightfully so, because we were saying this before, like WrestleMania is WrestleMania, but the Royal Rumble is the beginning, is the road to WrestleMania. It should be treated like such. This shouldn't be a run of the mill pay per view. This shouldn't even be. I can't even think of. This shouldn't be like Great American Bash or fucking like Hell in a Cell. This should be treated with soft, caring hands and understanding that there's some huge opportunities. You're setting up basically almost your entire year, just about after it kind of resets with the whole wrestling calendar after WrestleMania being that, but I don't know. It didn't feel as special to me. At this point, I was kind of thinking, I'm like, what really is besides WrestleMania? Is Money in the Bank now the big like pay-per-view? SummerSlam is kind of held up to its own thing as well, but I don't know. I hope Royal Rumble just isn't losing its luster. I don't know, but that was my thought right there.
Hmm.
I was trying to think also. Yeah, just our night was cool. Just us watching it. Like I said again, shout out like I did in the beginning. Shout out to Greg, my brother, for hosting it, organizing the gambling part of things like we usually do. If you want to participate and also do, it's not that hard. We get the right amount of people. Obviously, 15 if you're doing the quick math at home. Get 15 people. They get two numbers each. $10 a piece per rumble. So you can go if you win both, you can win upwards of $300. But it ends up more than likely it ends up being one person per rumble. So 150 on your way out. It's pretty good for a day just watching the rumble. Easy peasy. That'll buy you a whole year's worth of Netflix when
It's
Raw goes on there. So be wise for that.
it's
But
a
yeah,
great time.
yeah, exactly. Great time. Great. Greg got the catering, got the chicken. Wow, loved it. Loved everything about it. So then obviously the night was enjoyable. The Rumble was less than pleasing. So there we go. Yeah, two thumbs up for the party. Two, at least a one for sure thumbs down. Because I'll be like that, kind of like that. Because yeah. So yeah, we'll hit it in chronological order like we usually do. Start off with the women's rumble, and in my mind, kind of the best part of the night. Kind of the best part of the night. Obviously, like you see in Mikey's background, Bailey being the successful winner, well deserved. And I'll kind of just breeze through my notes and what I thought were the big high spots. Like I just mentioned at the top while I was recapping, TNA and Jordan Grace might have been just the whole highlight, the biggest thing without a doubt. Triple H acknowledging Jordan Grace in the post press conference, but did you hear his comments about The term forbidden door. It's so stupid. I think it's a dumb term.
You know, it's his
Bro,
small his glasses on that barely fit him.
the guy he's honestly he's on some presidential like aging wheel. He's looking rough. But yeah, I mean that's just what happens when you're running the WWE. All this positive stuff is happening, and then a fucking blanket of negativity comes down with this whole Vince McMahon situation. But we already talked about that last week. We had no need to, or not even last week. We talked about it on Friday because we were on such a delay. But whatever. That's not even worth talking about. But yeah, just back to the forbidden door. What a dumb term. That's because your fucking company basically invented it because you wouldn't acknowledge other wrestling companies. A term had to be created, so that was the one that was that. So that's your fault. That's all I have to say on that.
Yeah.
That's such a dumb term. Fuck you. Let's see. Naomi coming back, that was cool. I also said that, if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't have even known that she was gone. And sure enough, I made that comment again. Mike being in front of us, Mike, our buddy Mike, not you, Mike, was in front of us, and he's like, I didn't even know she left. But yeah, exactly.
You would
Nope.
think she was hurt, injured or something. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Nope. Even worse, she went to TNA. No, I'm just kidding. TNA's popping right now. TNA's absolutely popping. I'm just being an asshole. Yeah, exactly that. But glad she is back. Absolutely. Botches galore on just everybody's side of things. I can, but this was probably the best match on the night. Like I said, I got a big pop for Nia, obviously, but Nia and Jade meeting in the ring, that was cool. Jade and Bianca Belair meeting, having a stare down. Just Jade not being the drizzling shits is a highlight, and that's fine, and that's good enough for me. I'm okay. People were like, "What if she gets in that performance center? She becomes the best thing since sliced bread." Let's pump the brakes. It's possible, and I would love for that to happen. That's great. We always want to see a good wrestling product. I just don't think that's the case. Again, glad that she's just not falling over her own feet anymore type deal. And that wasn't necessarily the thing. It just she always was working stiff and still kind of is. So get in there. Good start. Good start. Nothing negative right there. Exactly that. Get into NXT, get in the performance center, more time. I think that should be all good. Well, you're anything quickly on Jade?
yeah, I thought she looked pretty good. They made her look like a star,
Yes.
and she was in the final three. And yeah, I mean, she'll be going up and up in WWE for sure. I mean, she'll just get better and better, learning from. I mean, WWE is some of the best people there to train her, so I'm sure that she'll just only improve.
So yeah, they basically yeah, I would agree with you for sure. Basically the last two being Bailey and oh, it was
Liv
it
Morgan,
Liv Morgan.
but
Okay.
they kind of all got eliminated at the same time because Jade. They did that move where Liv Morgan bounced off the ropes to throw Jade out, and then Bailey just kicked Liv Morgan out
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, that was a nice setup right there. Essentially that kind of gave you a good idea of what was going on. And like I said, are you opposed to Bailey being the winner in this scenario?
no, it's fine. I mean, again, I haven't been keeping up with the product too much, but I know that there's this story building up with her and Io Sky. They've been like, she's been in the faction with them, and it seems like they've been turning on her for a while now. So Bailey will probably turn face again, not be a heel anymore, and she'll fight Io Sky at WrestleMania for the title. I
I've
mean,
seen that. Yeah, I've seen that scenario. Or the other idea was, oh, Bailey needs to, not need to, but prove her worth. She will go and face Rhea, try and win that title. And the idea that they'll bring all the titles to damage control, uh,
yeah, damage control.
control damage. Like what is that? Fucking key, press on the keyboard, control damage. No, but yeah,
I
that I
think I
think.
saw some report that Rhea Ripley, they're gonna have an elimination chamber at Elimination Chamber, and whichever women wins will fight Rhea Ripley at
Okay.
WrestleMania.
Okay. All right. If that's the case, then strike whatever I was gonna say. If that's going to be the route, then that makes sense too. So that'd be pretty
What's
cool.
the one you heard?
What like yeah, like I was mentioning that Bailey would want to go up against Rhea, go faces Rhea at Mania, loses, and then when she loses the next night on Raw, that's when Damage Control forces Bailey out, and they finally turn on her. Rick is like, "Oh, you couldn't bring the title to Damage Control, you stupid bitch! I hate you." They knock her out. Uh,
Yeah, that's a possibility too. I
yeah.
don't know which route they're gonna end up going, but I mean, I think Bailey deserved it ultimately. She's
Oh,
been around for
absolutely.
a long time and she deserves a WrestleMania match like this.
We were all huggers that night for sure. That was a big one. Big one for Bailey. Big win. Enjoyed it. And if that's the case, hopefully we get the flayable and arm flailing two ladies.
At WrestleMania,
Yeah, that'll be fun.
that
But I
would
mean,
that would be pretty cool if they
yeah.
brought those back, at least just for one
Yeah,
entrance.
exactly. I'll see how the storyline falls for that one. But how about Owens and Logan Paul? That was the next one on here. Honestly, a good little spot match until all that hoopla at the end. I had no idea who that guy was, that led to the interference and led to even more interfering from Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. And that led to a brass knuckle spot, which got all hairy and dicey. And sure enough, it rips it off of Kevin Owens or rips Logan. Kevin Owens rips it off of Logan Paul. Kevin Owens uses it on Logan Paul, and then this referee right here becomes the most competent referee of all time and realizes that he has brass knuckles still on his fingers, and signals for the disqualification. At the time, I felt like that was the dumbest thing on the planet. Being able to look back at it a little bit, I still think that's pretty stupid, but it's also kind of funny and could set up for just more build up for the storyline and just more heat for Logan Paul. Fine, that's fine. I think that is actually pretty like old school of them to do that. So that's okay in my book. Uh, like I said, good match until not until it wasn't, but just it went from no interference, no trickery to everything was an interference and a ton of bullshit going on. So that was throwing me off a little bit. It took away from it immensely, but I can see again if the goal was to just add more heat to Logan Paul, you did that. Congratulations. Any thoughts on this one?
Yes, no, decent match. I mean, it was all right, not too much to take away from it, honestly. I liked the ending spot with the ref. I thought that was pretty funny, like you said, but yeah, the ref seeing that never happens ever. So it's just funny that the ref somehow saw it now, but
And I don't know if he was paying attention, but it looked like while he was slapping, his head was down for both 1, 2 counts, and then just so happens to look up for the two and like, oh, you got the brass knucks, no. So that's why I mean, if
ridiculous.
he had been looking up one, looking up two, oh, then it would have been like okay, but you gotta work on that one, referee guy. Overall, decent. Moves along the storyline. This one was also I put just that was also the same word I put next to it. Decent in the Fatal 4 Way between Styles, L.A. Knight, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns. Nothing special.
Oh,
I actually felt like the ending was a little rushed towards the end. Kind of felt like just the way that Styles was on the spring, just ready to take a springboard, gets pushed, and you don't really see it on camera, and they never replayed it afterwards. So that's kind of why I felt like the ending was a little fucked up at the end. But that was just that. Only other comment on here is just thank God Slim Jim sponsorship came back because otherwise LA Knight would not have been able to even enter the ring for that entrance. So that was my takeaway from this Fatal 4 Way. What were your thoughts on it?
that is true. They played that entire commercial before he came out. That's shameless. It's just hilarious. That is hilarious. If they didn't come back in, they would not have been able to play that.
No, not a chance.
But Yeah, I mean, again, the same, similar to the last match. I mean, I don't know. I felt like these were just kind of, decent matches, not really t crazy things happen. We knew Roman was gonna win, so it's like whatever. Solo came out and helps
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
So,
Color me shocked that Solo Sikoa got himself involved in a Roman Reigns title match.
yeah, and he always has a hoodie on for some reason. Like, we know who you
It's
are,
cold.
man.
It's cold in the
We
arena.
know who you are
Yeah.
at this point. Just Roman wins again, and it's just the same old stuff until WrestleMania, where that's the only chance where it's like maybe he'll finally lose at WrestleMania. So we just have that chance again this year, or
Dun,
maybe we'll
dun, dun,
see
dun,
what
dun, dun,
happens.
dun,
But
dun, 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 dun. Uh, I thought that was yeah, that was all over the place. I haven't been listening or watching anything lately of Jim Cornette, but my Jim Cornette soundbite in my back of my head was going off when they were grabbing chairs and there was interference going on right in front of the referee's face. I'm just like, oh, fatal four way, no disqualifications, lazy booking. Kind of got me in
mm,
that little like a little AEW feel, kind of where they just you know what? Just fuck it. Everything's going on. It wasn't too crazy. There wasn't blood and cheese graters everywhere, but very out of pocket for WWE at least to be like not kind of an unannounced no disqualification and then just there's some a little bit of extra violence. So that I thought that was very different. Again, I hopefully I wasn't sounding like too old of a man in that one. It's just not in my WWE. They're a little too violent right there. I thought that was okay. And then, yeah, we see more of Roman Reigns obviously later on in the night. Once the crowning moment of the Rumble is happening, we also see Rollins up there enjoying a suite. They were so far away in Tropicana, which by the way they say 49,000 plus. Funny because they've had two World Series there, and they didn't even crack 20,000 people. To be fair, you can't have fans on the field for games, but it is kind of funny. It is kind of funny. And I also heard the way out, the traffic on the way out of the arena was absolute fucking chaos because I've never been down there, but the report is all the time that there's one bridge and it's the only way in, it's the only way out. So people were literally on the bridge, just out of their car, like, well, fuck it, we know we're gonna be here for a minute. So
wow.
Florida, at least it was probably only like 75 degrees down there. So Florida. Uh, on to the men's rumble. That was the nightcap right here, and just overall with the night is what I have with this word is underwhelming. Not very interesting, disappointing. All those words you can find all. If you want to grab a thesaurus and do connect it with all those words, be my guest. Surprises were not very many. I mean, there is Andrade, and it's only labeled a surprise if you aren't paying attention at all. For those that have been, you clearly knew that Andrade was going to jump ship and go back to WWE once his contract was over with. So that was really all that was there. Pat McAfee had an entrant, but that was such a wasted opportunity. And I was kind of sitting there on Blow the Whistle earlier this week, and we agreed that if he was gonna go in there and do that, I'm all for comedy spots, and that's what happened in both. I forgot to mention that in the women's thing too. R-Truth, shout out to R-Truth, such a fun spot in the women's and the men's spot. But if you're gonna have comedy, if you're gonna have a comedic relief right there with Pat McAfee's spot, have him put someone over, not just you know play games with himself. It's like, oh, am I getting in? Yeah, I'm in. Oh, am I getting out? Yeah, I'm out. No, I'm back in. No, I'm not. Like, are you the like weirdo uncle at the pool that can't decide if he's cold or trying to hop in and out of the pool? Like,
Oh,
dude, just go in, have almost choke slam you, have him go over, and then he tosses you over the fucking ring. Not that hard. You recover and you get back on commentary, and you'd be like, oh man, almost just kicked the shit out of me. Put him over. Put somebody over in that instance. That was the only part, right? That was the only frustrating thing. You know, could have been a cooler, maybe it could have been like X-Pac, or maybe it could have been another NXT guy to showcase something that he could have done cool. I'm all for that. It still, even with that spin zone, I kind of was like, yeah, wasted opportunity right there. Where you were kind of that same feeling, were you not?
Let's go. Mm, Yeah, why? Like he already came out earlier, surprised everyone he's back on the announce team, and then let's
Let's
go. Like,
smoke.
there's no one
Oh.
else that can come out. Then yeah, he does nothing. Just gets in. Our buddy Allen had him as one of his gambling numbers, and that's what he gets. He
Yeah, that was a
gets it.
tough one. I think we were talking about this last year, the year before. My brother got Dario Dawkins, the one half of
Oh,
the Street Profits, and then his other one was Santos Escobar. And then this year, I think Allen got the new worst duo, Ivar and Pat McAfee.
and your
I
brother's
think,
friend gets the best in CM Punk and Cody.
yeah, Vince, who obviously won the pot, got Drew, Cody Rhodes, who we were smack dab in the middle. I had 14, you had 16, and out comes Cody at 15.
Of
And then,
course.
like I said, Vince also gets 27, who's CM Punk. CM Punk, even at 27, looked gassed, and we'll get to him in just a quick second. I had a couple more notes. Braun Breaker actually coming in, and in place of Brock Lesnar, who some were reporting, he took a he did the Brock Lesnar spots. He threw out who Brock Lesnar was supposedly supposed to go against, and I guess it looks like it's going to be Braun Breaker versus the Judgment Day. I just thought it was overall disappointing for Finn Balor, who comes in at 14. He ends up being my guy, but comes in at 14. No big pop. I've been saying this for a week or so now, where I come to this realization like, wow, how is it that Damian Priest, who has the Money in the Bank briefcase, and Finn Balor are in the same group? They're the tag team champions, by the way, who I completely forgot. They're in the same they're in the same faction. Yet Tom and Nick, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley, and R-Truth are all overshadowing you in this instance. Crazy. Crazy in my mind that I came to that realization. And for all that for all that it's worth, Finn Balor, apparently his contract is coming up after WrestleMania, and no talk on either end of a negotiation of re-signing. So might be seeing the demons somewhere else sometime soon. Not entirely sure,
Hmm.
but very much disappointing. If we were always if we're talking about, oh, AEW dropped the ball with him and can't believe they let Jade Cargill go. The WWE's fucked up so hard with Shinsuke. They fucked up so hard on Finn. Now dropping the ball currently with Damian Priest. I mean, it's the WWE blinders that are always up. You can't realize who's doing fault on your end until it is on the other side. So that's just me. Like I said, Braun Breaker taking care of the Judgment Day, just kind of casually tossing out Jimmy Uso, who I thought Jay and Jimmy at the very beginning, they're gonna have a match at Mania. But kind of like I said, should have maybe had Jay toss out Jimmy or Jimmy toss out Jay. But no, Braun takes care of Jay or Jimmy.
Hmm.
I'm still gonna fuck it up. And then Braun also takes care of Finn Balor, and kind of like I said, just not without a big pop. No one really would have mentioned it if you knew. That's kind of just my thing. There's just no story. He just the Judgment Day kind of crumbling, but they tried to pop up on Monday Night Raw the next day, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna try and be taken seriously." I'm trying to do my Finn Balor Irish guy, but yeah,
They
uh,
beat up our truth.
they did. They made their presence known there. But how about this? Finally, Final Six was good. I'm trying to remember who it all was. Gunther, McIntyre, Punk, Rhodes. Uh, I think no, Braun was Braun Breaker in? No, either Braun or Dominic. Uh,
Dominic might have been there. I don't remember. I only remember those final
they
four.
they had a solid six in there, and that in my mind that kind of set up who might be in the elimination chamber, and now minus at least two people with Rhodes winning and Punk getting injured. For those that we'll get to it in just a quick second, but might as well say it now. I've mentioned it like two times already. Punk officially injured. He was out on Raw, had the little spot with McIntyre, but a report is out 4 to 6 months with the same torn tricep that he suffered against Moxley in AEW. I mean, a tough go right there. I mean, you even see it in the broadcast. he tells the referee, like, he kind of shows, he makes all the signs known that he got fucked up during the match. So it's a tough break. That's a tough one right there. But yeah, even with that happening, somehow, some way, Cody Rhodes and Punk, just being the last two, went forever. And sure, a couple cool nods. Punk doing a pedigree, and he goes, "Can't believe I just did that shit. I'm not losing to Dusty's kid." Keep talking, because honestly, it's the only thing you're really good at this point anymore. Another good promo on Raw, and just, not your body's just not showing up anymore. So I don't know if they're hanging it up, but he's gonna have to figure it out. Get in there, get your cardio going, because yeah, your body's not shaping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, Rhodes gets it again. I personally think Cody Rhodes could have got to WrestleMania without this Royal Rumble win. Could have given it to anyone else. I don't know, but obviously good that they didn't give it to Punk, not knowing in this instance that he'd already torn his tricep. We'll see what happens. Maybe that was the pivot. Who knows? I've been bouncing off you, but yeah. Any other additional lingering thoughts on the men's Royal Rumble?
Um, yeah, I mean, all in all, I think it was just kind of disappointing at the end of it all. I mean, I love the Royal Rumble. I always expect some sort of I always just expect more I guess it's me just expecting more surprises and stuff
And
like
rightfully
that, but
so, from the quote unquote biggest wrestling or sports entertainment company in the world. Excuse me. I don't know why you should have expectations for big stars and bigger names to be involved in here on one of the biggest pay-per-view, or excuse me once more, PLEs, premium live events. No longer pay-per-views, but I'm not gonna mark you down for having a high expectation here, and rightfully so. It's kind of, again, it's what pushes us aside. It's just like every single time, it's like, hey, WWE, this, they're great, and every time they can step up and they have an opportunity to just knock it out of the park, and they kind of just lay down a bunt and advance the runner. That's just what happens every single time, and every time it seems like I'm watching these big events. Uh, yeah. So again, I think you're in the right when you say I had expectations for this pay per view and you didn't get it.
yeah, that's really where I fall with all of this. I learned I should have learned my lesson with WWE. I never should set expectations because I know they won't fulfill them. So
Yeah, no, that makes some sense. Again, bitten a ton of times by, again, the quote unquote largest sports entertainment company on the planet. We just don't learn our lesson. Just don't learn our lesson. That's just what happens when you're a hopeful wrestling fan that just wants everything to go right. But that's that. That was the Rumble. Into Raw, and just a couple of notes right there that we had, just more on CM Punk being out 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 6 months, excuse me, tearing his right tricep. Still cut a promo, a decent little promo, an emotional promo, tugging on the heartstrings. Uh, but again, I'm at the point where, Punky, yeah, it's a tough look. Your last 3 years consist of coming back. You won the AEW World Title. You broke your foot. Brawl out, suspension. Come back, have a little title, have another little run. You bring back Collision, that has some turmoil there. Go to All In, you have a fight there. You get fired. Coming in here, and this is your first match back, and you tear your tricep. It's a tough go. It's a tough go for Punk fans right now in general. So I feel in that sense that sucks, but it's just,
yeah,
man, oh man, if karma was a thing, I guess, and some would say that, but you never want to wish injury upon anybody. So exactly that, unless you're Drew McIntyre, I guess, who got this promo, he got his prayers answered, and honestly, I was. That was hilarious. The way that he delivered it, that was prime delivering on the promo side for Drew McIntyre. Underrated on that side for without a doubt. Gets the pop. But I don't like the route that they're gonna take it. If it's gonna be Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn, man, these pivots are brutal. Yeah, exactly. I can all tie into it. Just Sami Zayn coming out at 30 as just as drive a fart.
No.
Oh, just as drive a fucking fart right there as it was on him coming out to save CM Punk. I don't know. Any thoughts right there on the promo injury, everything else like I just mentioned.
Ricochet was number 29. It's like this just nuts. Like this is what we want. Um, I think someone at the Royal Rumble too had 29 and 30, and people were like trying to trade for it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, those are the best
Yep.
spots. You would have got Ricochet and Sami Zayn. So,
Yeah, that was a tough one.
like,
Mm.
don't even. Also, that's another thing. The generic theme songs and all the wrestlers I see people talking about on Twitter. Half of these wrestlers, you barely even know who they are until you see their name or Titantron because all the theme songs sound the same nowadays. There's no more of
Yeah.
those old, like, just no more of those iconic. IEW has a lot of them. Like, you hear a song, you know exactly who it is when they're coming out. But it's just WWE, so many generic theme songs. I was seeing that on Twitter so much, and I completely agree.
Yeah,
It's
when
just
Chris Van Vliet interviewed I believe it is Brian Johnston? Is that his
Jim
name? Jim
Johnson, I think.
Johnston, thank
Yeah.
you. Interviewed Jim Johnston, and that's exactly what he said. He's either vouching for himself or just like, wrestling themes today just don't have that same like just value. Like I'm not putting I have old WWE themes on my Spotify playlist. I don't have current WWE themes on there because like they're not as catchy, they're not as cool, they're not as like they're not as I don't know like I don't know what would be the word for it. I can't recognize them right away as much as the ones that are of today. They're so mashed together. They all sound the same. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I'm completely agree. Like, unless you heard them to go, El Idolo, Idolo, Idolo. But if you didn't know that was Andrade, it would have been the exact same thing. You wouldn't have known it was Andrade until he came out and had his little mask on and everything. And yeah, I was under that same impression a lot for the women's side of things when it's like, who the even when their name popped up, I'm like, holy, what are we doing? Hit me in the head so I can see some stars, my guy. Holy fuck.
Oh,
Uh,
you don't want to see Mitchin?
yeah, or I don't even think she was there, but yeah, Zoe Stark isn't. That's not what's gonna do it for y'all. So that ain't it. Uh, yeah. Overall, the night there was that. Like I said, CM Punk being out 4 to 6 months. That's that. Drew McIntyre proceeds to just and just that the best promo on that, also best troll job on Twitter today, the picture with him just him putting his face on the guy that poses next to the coffin or the the headstone. That's phenomenal. Also what was the reaction, then Jordan like laughing off his tablet, like that was also another good viral one today too. So yeah, McIntyre never change.
Yeah, that was pretty good there,
Awesome.
McIntyre.
Yeah, that was good. And then the final thing I would just want to get to, just before we get on out of here, this is the last thing I saw on Raw, but you can maybe fill in if there's anything else bigger. Rollins essentially challenging Rhodes to WrestleMania 40, coming out saying that, yeah, you don't want that you don't want that Hollywood title, you want the hard working title. And I changed the channel. I was doing something else. That was the only reason I changed the channel. I changed the channel before I got to see Cody Rhodes' response, but you basically filled it in on exactly what I thought it was. Yeah, my daddy was a plumber. My daddy's daddy was a plumber, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So did he accept? I think Rollins ended up saying like
I
doing
don't think he
the
said
yeah,
yes.
he did the classic. I don't need an answer now, but soon. And you're just like, fuck you. Especially if you're sitting in that city in that audience, you're like, go suck a dick. Like, we want an answer now. We want something to cheer for.
He won't fight Rollins.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
typical WWE. It's a to throw you off. It's just a
Yeah.
typical like, oh, to put that in the back of your head, like he might pick Seth. Like,
Yeah.
no, it'll be him versus Reigns for sure. And then The Rock will somehow, if he
Somehow
does
knows his
somehow
way in
get
there.
involved in it, then yeah, well, I mean, the triple threat will be awesome. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and The Rock. I mean,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Got three. I got enough alliteration there. I love it.
And I'm
Rock,
sure
Roman.
a big thing I was seeing is Seth Rollins maybe will fight Gunther or something at WrestleMania, which like that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Hear me out on this one. I've heard that maybe I threw this by a couple times or two. Would you be okay with, finally saying, I said mentioned it earlier, Damian Priest hasn't done a damn thing with that money in the bank. How about he cashes in on Rollins sometime, maybe right before or after the chamber, just so there's some actual time to build up. Have it Priest win the title and have Priest versus Gunther at Mania. And I don't know what the storyline might be, but God Almighty, that would be a banger of a match between two giant guys who know how to work. And I think that would be a phenomenal matchup. Even if Priest is just the crossover, the lame duck world champion, just to get into the next guy. The what would it be? The crossover champion or whatever it is. Even if a transition champion, essentially. Even
I
if you,
love it. I
that would be,
love it.
yeah, I think that would be the best move. I think that's more, and then gives Rollins the opportunity to, get any surgeries or take the time that he needs to rehab, which I also heard he all of his parts were cut out of that Marvel movie that he went ahead and did, so that fucking
What?
yeah, I mean, I hope it was I hope that was a good source that I saw that from, but that's what I heard, that all of his scenes were just cut from whatever that new Marvel movie that he's in. So that sucks.
That
Yeah.
sucks ass.
Nothing to follow back on that one. So, might as well get healthy and stay your longevity in the WWE. So that's going to be where your bread is buttered. So, that's that really. So, any other lingering thoughts on Rollins Rhodes or just in that little scenario I laid out for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Rollins, so I'd love to see him be healthy and good for WrestleMania. But I mean, if he's dealing with something and he thinks he needs to sit out, yeah, I mean, the Gunther and Damian Priest, if they can transition to something like that, it'd be pretty cool. I guarantee CM Punk getting hurt definitely put a wrench in their
Oh
plans,
yeah.
and
I mean,
so they're gonna.
everyone was pointing to Punk. It would be probably Punk and McIntyre or Punk and Gunther to make to number one contender, and then they would uh go on to face Rollins or end up winning the elimination chamber, whichever, whatever they decide with Rhodes, or if Rhodes is like, I'll make my decision, whatever. I think yeah, the CM Punk injury added a huge damper to whatever their game plans were, and again, that sucks. That sucks immensely for them. So yeah, that's that. We'll be looking forward to Elimination Chamber in Perth at 5:30 in the morning. That's the next
I'll
pay-per-view.
be watching it on a
Yeah.
recap of it.
Definitely gonna do a playback. I'll try and get up around like noon or something and watch it back or something. That ought to be good. But if you're all good on that, all good on the Rumble, all good on Raw, wrestling, NFL, everything else in between, I think that's about it. I think that's an early wrap up here on episode 54. Check, please. Thank you. Very cool. As always, thank you very much for your time here, Mikey guy. Any final thoughts, lingering words before I get all my other plugs in and whatnot?
Everyone be well, be safe. Let's have a great week. And yeah, I mean, I love always doing this with you, man. Happy
Yeah.
birthday again.
Oh,
And
appreciate it.
it was
Appreciate
a
it.
great show.
Yeah, enjoy the Pro Bowl. Take the time, honestly, to and don't, like I said, don't watch the Pro Bowl. Take the time to be with your family because you're gonna have plenty other time to come Super Bowl Sunday in 2 weeks. So, I'm gonna plug away before we get out of here, like I always do. Blow the whistle Monday, Wednesdays on Twitch.tv/SportsDownShy. We do that 2 to 4 p.m. Just got added. We're going to be starting another show on Tuesday, 2 to 3. Me and this guy, I don't me and this guy, but I don't want to get it wrong. I've been talking to him a bunch on campus. His name is Brandon Combs. So myself, I don't know what the show's gonna be called just yet. I think he just simply just said like, you want to just call it like Nick and Brandon, Brandon and Nick, or Johnston and Combs. We might just be doing something as simple that just talking sports between two guys that just want to do that. Very passionate about talking sports. So there you have it. Similar to similar to how it is on this end. So there you have it in there. So more twitch.tv/sportstown shy stuff. My no substitute for sports live on Thursdays. Same thing, same place. Bad Karma Wrestling as well. 11:30 on X Bomb Sports. All that. Follow us on X. Follow us on Twitter. Make sure you like, subscribe, do everything on the YouTube side of things. And again, that's it. Thank you very much for enjoying. Alan, take your notes. Troy will be popping in again sometime soon with his Kentucky update, and we enjoy it. We appreciate you with all the time on that one and there. So, till next time, we'll see you. Wow. Take care.